Yeah, I think I certainly agree with that point. And looking at the kind of situation for students in particular, it's really difficult for us to not be in the private rented sector. I can't really buy a house at this stage of my life, but for us to imagine ourselves in a long-term property when every 6 months or every 12 months we have to apply again and not really know what the landlord's plans are for the property that you're staying in, and also you're kind of putting yourself in a position where you have to negotiate financially with the landlord in some scenarios. So I think evening out the balance and giving people more ownership over the places that they call homes is really important.
Gary and then Rosemary.
Yeah, just echoing what Robert said as well about the penalty that would be in place for landlords. The penalty for the tenant would be much more significant if they're having to be made to leave their property. So we recognise the points that are raised in terms of the grounds that are noted. We think that the tribunals that are being set up provide an opportunity to work on those issues without any need for mandatory grounds in place. But we would, if they're to go forward, we'd like to at least see discretionary elements attached to them. For example, the term ground for refurbishment could, it isn't really detailed what that means. It could mean a lick of paint at this point. The tenant has otherwise breached the tenancy agreement. Again, could be for a very minor situation. We even talked earlier on today about debt and that being spread over a couple of months. Technically, that is breaching the agreement. If I could just speak briefly as well about some of the recommendations from some stakeholders about student tenancies being implemented. I think as a student, I'd be really concerned about those proposals. My feeling is that it's not in students' interest to not say that they're going to be leaving, because we don't want to get lumbered with loads of debt and rent that we can't afford to pay. We think that better communication with landlords to the tenants to understand what they'll be wanting to do in the next couple of months could alleviate some of the issues. But just generally, the highlighting of the student cycle, if you will, or the student market, it currently doesn't meet the needs for students, so we wouldn't regard what currently exists as best practice, and we wouldn't want that to continue into these new proposals.
Gary, you wanted to make a point on rent increases.
Yeah, so one of our main concerns in particular is for prospective tenants, and there's a worry that basically landlords can just be playing catch up. So they've had someone in for a certain period of time, and then as was noted earlier on, they could have a number of different properties at different levels. In cities like Aberdeen, where rents for students have increased over 40–50%, but the level of income hasn't increased for them, we think that there's a disconnect there, but there's ways of looking at that. We obviously think that building more affordable social housing is one way of looking at things, but in terms of understanding the problems in the area, looking at the applications that are coming in for local housing support and opportunities would be one way of noting if there's income issues within a hot zone.
Okay, thank you. Fraser? Right, and then Rosemary?
Yeah, I mean, we've noted earlier on some of our concerns with some of the detail, but more broadly, I think, first of all, we're really happy that there is some form of rent control being introduced, but it's very much a small step at this stage, and we'd like to see much more significant development in that area. As far as I see it, there's a severe disconnect between the expectations on people in society for the rent that they have to pay in comparison to the income that they have, particularly for students who struggle to find part-time work and have to rely on their student loan and bursary. There's a question to be asked about reasonable investment into properties and then a reasonable expectation of what should come out of that. And my concern about tying it to a kind of capital market price, it doesn't relate in reality to the income and the lives of the people that are living in those properties. Just finally as well, we've talked about it before, but the ability for landlords to basically massively hike up rents after a tenant has left and someone would move in is negative for society in general, I think, but it would definitely impact students because we are much more mobile in the cities that we live in.
Okay, thank you. Rosemary?